Signori e signori mutanti, piacere di presentarvi.
C'est impossible.
Mi chiamerei a essere robot.
He's Cortex, they spell.
If it isn't Crash Bandicoot.
If you have any passing knowledge of me as a person, you would know that I enjoy different languages and game localization. In fact, I've even done a video on that in the past. And in this potential video series, I will highlight all that I deem highlight worthy in Crash Bandicoot adaptations around the world. So to kick things off, I'll be starting with the first game. And by first game, I mean the second game. Since Crash 1 was only ever released in English and Japanese, and those two versions have been contrasted countless times on the internet, I'm jumping directly to Crash Bandicoot 2. But what is it called? Why, it's Cortex Strikes Back, isn't it? Says so on the box. While the manuals, packaging and promotional materials support that claim, switching the game language before returning to the title screen reveals translated game titles, which don't show up anywhere else.
Crash Bandicoot 2. Cortex ataca de nuevo.
Crash Bandicoot 2. Cortex schlägt zurück.
Crash Bandicoot 2. Cortex contre-attaque.
Crash Bandicoot 2. Il ritorno di Cortex.
Of course, the Japanese isn't exempt from this.
Crash Bandicoot 2. Cortex no Gyakushu.
But the real Japanese title in my heart is revealed on the spine of the game box as Cortex Strikes Back. Yep, that's his name. Speaking of names, some characters who are mentioned in cutscene dialogue got their names strangely localized. The biggest offender here would be this guy.
Je vois que Roux l'égorgeur ne t'a pas inquiété outre mesure.
Der Schlechter ist wohl mal wieder sein Geld nicht wert gewesen.
Rue the Cutthroat and Rue the Slaughterer, alternatively Rue the Butcher, sound more like mass murderer epithets than cartoony character names, no doubt inspired by the charming Jack the Ripper next door. Needless to say, these names didn't stick around for future games, while Spanish and Italian very conventionally stick with the untranslated name.
Bien vu, Crash. Tu n'as rien à envier au frère Kimodo.
Bel lavoro, Crash. I fratelli Kimodo non erano alla tua altezza.
Muy bonito, Crash. Es evidente que los hermanos Kimodo carecen de tu entereza.
Spitzenleistung, Crash. Die Kimodo-Brüder konnten die offenbar nicht das Wasser reichen.
Although the English makes it very clear they're the Komodo brothers, it seems like the Euros had some outdated scripts that still called them by their early concept name of Kimodo. In Japan, the characters were spared from translatory antics like this, though we'll find that important items are renamed across the board. Wumpa fruit are now apples, crystals are now power stones, and gems are now diamonds. This one's also true for French. Aside from name changes, Crash 2's dubbing is rather infamous among many fans. What for, you may ask? Well, it's for the quality.
Crash.
Or lack thereof. What's up with these voice actors? Where did they come from? Where did they go? According to some vague forum posts, the entire European localization of Crash 2 was produced in the same place where I recorded this video. London. Rather than hearing Clancy Brown, the late Brendan O'Brien and company, us Europeans got to listen to the likes of Benedetta Ferraro,
Crash, la mia batteria è scarica. Per favore, portami una batteria di riserva, ti prego.
Javier Fernández Peña,
¡Ah! ¡Has conseguido todas las gemas! ¡Increíble!
Pilar Ortiz,
Crash, gracias a Dios. He accedido a la computadora de Cortex y
para un Cortex Vortex mejorado.
And Michael Hülsmann.
Hör gut zu. Wir haben durchaus Feinde. Einige davon könnten dir sogar bekannt vorkommen.
All of whom are confirmed to have worked in London or still do so to this day. Incidentally, these actors and actresses would go on to take on even more roles in the Crash games, as well as make up the cast of Spyro or Metal Gear Solid. All things considered, including downright translation errors and unidiomatic word choices, I dare speculate that this whole localization was a rather cheap affair.
Crash, es-tu là?
You would have to take this with a pinch of salt, or maybe even a handful, since the whole localization process is extremely poorly documented.
Docteur Nitro Brio.
Of course, the Japanese dub's a special case, and ought to be viewed separately.
Nein!
It features A-listers, like Shozo Izuka, or Haruna Ikezawa. A special highlight here would be Kenichi Ogata giving Aku Aku his first speaking role in the series in the form of the Aku hint mechanic.
Yeah, Crash. Washi wa Aku Aku ja. Ikkai dake nara onushi o mamotte yarou ka no?
The Witch Doctor is mask-splaining everything. From color gem secrets to Warp Room 6 exits to hidden level areas to death routes to enemy behaviors to Crash's moveset. He simply cannot stop. This dub also plays with more linguistic nuances for a stronger characterization, most notably with Aku and Cortex using more old-fashioned registers and speech styles to convey their old man personalities, which is indicated by their preferred first-person pronoun washi. Now, to give you the best overview on the many dubs of Crash 2, here's a complete language comparison of the most iconic scene in the game. While especially the European dubs can be of varying quality, there's a small detail that can go easily unnoticed, even though it tremendously elevates the dubs. A quick side-by-side of the same cutscene in different languages reveals that they're not all fully synced up to each other. That is because the animations have been synced up to the different languages instead. Don't get me wrong, these are not fully custom animations for every language, but rather the existing English animations timed to fit the dubbed lines as best as possible. Seeing this level of care be put into a game from the 90s is downright incredible, especially if we look at the industry standards even today, where games typically get custom animations for English and Japanese only, if even that. Naughty Dog were really ahead of their time with this one. Crash being an American game series had us pals contend with English level names, no matter if the game is set to French or Italian. However, it is once again the Japanese who got a bit of an extra special treatment, as all level names received brand new Nihongo nemos. In order to not exhaust this segment too much, I'll be limiting myself to a quick lightning top 3 of my most and least favorite Japanese level names, according to my humble but very objectively correct opinion. The pits? The birds are coming for you. Ooh, intimidating. The eel deal? Splish splash, I will take underground passage. Totally bare? Full throttle all night. Surely that was someone's nickname in high school. Turtle Woods? Rainy jungle. Straightforward. Cold Hard Crash? The Snow Mountain continues. Riveting. Totally Fly? Pitch Black Crash. Some more Japanese extra nuggets can be extracted from the instruction manual, in form of a short comic strip filling in a few narrative gaps between Crash 1 and 2, Coco being from the city, Crash's islands being confirmed as Tasmania, Crash developing new moves to impress women to get over his failed relationship with Torna, Engine being described as Cortex's former classmate, and Brio moonlighting as a bartender to fund his research. Bizarrely, the Japanese have also given literal first names to a few enemies. So everybody welcome Gokun, Gurin, and Nick. Last and definitely also least, because this really shouldn't exist, is this additional Japanese exclusive cutscene where Coco very explicitly tells the player to go and fight Cortex to retrieve the crystals. Even though she does that very thing very clearly in the cutscene that takes place right before. Why this superfluous addition genuinely exists, I can only guess. But before we close this off, let's all collectively have a moment of silence for all the Dutch-speaking gamers who got their manuals translated, but never the game. Wat in tegenvaller. So, this is when I initially planned to finish this video, but I was looking for scans of the European Crash 2 manuals for this video and I came across Portuguese? Finnish? Greek? As it turns out, there is a plethora of languages that the manuals were translated into, although the game itself isn't available in those languages. At first I thought the manuals may have been translated for all the countries in the customer support hotline list, but I'm not completely sure about that either.
Shalom, Crash Bandicoot is currently not available in Israel. Please leave a message after the beep.
I downright fell into a rabbit hole of these pseudo-localizations that even Crash 1 may deserve a manual-focused deep dive. For now though, I'm staying on the topic of the Crash 2 expanded localization universe. Typically, instruction manuals are pretty one-to-one in terms of accuracy, but sometimes a few translatory oddities make their way in.
Huh?
Let's first turn towards Greek, as we get a repeat offender in Rou o Anter of Galtis, Rou the Gut Ripper, literally using the Greek translation of Jack the Ripper's epithet. Sounds pretty extreme, but have you considered Danish Crash Bandicoot? Instead of being ready for action, he's ready to go to war. Okay. Rather than plummeting down to the ground at the beginning of the game, Swedish Cortex is stated to be stuck in an eternal eastward orbit. Sure, this can be chalked up to mistranslations or idioms that are beyond my comprehension, but sometimes it's just funny to picture these absurd scenarios very literally. So, this is all nice and all, but what's the point, you may be asking? Highlight an aspect of video game production? Educate people on elements of localization? Establish obscure bad translation memes and inside jokes for the community? Show that even if it's official, people can still get it wrong? Or rattle down a ton of inconsequential trivia? Yes,